When Nelson Mandela died at the age of 95, the world took notice. Though South Africa remains troubled by unemployment, poverty and crime, the country and the world remembered Mandela as an inspirational president and leader. His death has been marked by words of reverence all across the globe and ordinary people alike. President Jacob Zuma, on the other hand, is regarded as controversial, and not everyone wants to celebrate his leadership. Mandela's shoes are hard to fill, and so it appears. The question is, what defines inspired leadership? Well, to discuss, I have with me human behavior expert Dr. John Demartini. Fantastic to have you with us, John.
Thank you. Thank you.
What stands out for you about Nelson Mandela that warrants his iconic position in the world?
Well, I think that he was resonant at the time with the real issues that were facing the country and that the world was ready for. So he had a pulse on the country, he had a pulse on the people, and he had a pulse on the times, and was able to, probably through contemplation, possibly in the prison, contemplating what exactly is the best solution, the greatest solution to transform a country. Mm-hmm. And he met the people at the needs of the people and led them and inspired them to new possibilities of empowerment, and led a concept that I think was a ripple effect across the world. I think it gave permission for other people and leaders around the world to start thinking differently. So even though he started out in his earlier stage a little bit more radical, I think the mellowing and his heartfulness that he came across about what he was trying to accomplish was felt. And I think he had a sincere message that was meaningful and timely, that I don't think he would do anything but get that out there. Just that was his mission, to do that.
I suppose what makes Mandela Mandela for me is that he was so congruent with his purpose, his value, and he wanted to fulfill the vision that he had for his country. And that's what really stands out for me as a South African. And it's amazing that he only served one term in office because he felt that he had fulfilled that vision, that the country had achieved democracy. The reality in which we find ourselves today is that Mandela's shoes, just to sum it up, are too big to be filled by just anybody. So we have a controversial president right now. And the question that people are asking themselves is, how should we assess integrity amongst the current political leaders in the country to actually ensure accountability? Because we had Mandela, one of the greatest leaders in the world, to lead us forward.
Well, it depends on the mission, the individual mission. I always say that the magnitude of the mission will determine the outcome. And if the mission is self-focused, it's only going to go so far. Mm-hmm. There's different levels of social dynamic. There's an individual, there's the family, there's the community, there's the townships, there's the city, there's the state, there's the nation, and there's globe, and even beyond today. We're going towards solarization beyond globalization. And the greater the vision, the greater the outcome. And if a person is focused on themselves and they're not focused on a cause bigger than themselves, they'll have chaos. They'll bring chaos to an organization bigger than themselves. Mm-hmm. So a leader is not a leader, really, until they have a vision greater than that which they're going to lead. If you want to make a difference in yourself, you have to have a vision as big as your family. If you want to make a difference in your family, you have to have a vision as big as your community. If you want to make a difference in your community, be a leader in the community, you need a vision as big as your city. You want to make a difference in your city and be a leader in the city, you need a vision as big as your state or province. If you want to make a difference in the state, you need a national vision. You want to be a national leader, you need a global vision. Mm-hmm. You want to be a global leader, you need an astronomical vision. So you will automatically create cacophony and dissonance if you don't step out of yourself and focus on something bigger than yourself. And that's what I think Nelson Mandela did. He was not focused on just Nelson Mandela, he was focused on a nation. And he had a global perspective for a nation, and he knew that bringing a republic and bringing a democracy and bringing that into the country would free it to go on and wake up its greatness. Mm-hmm. Because inside everybody is a tremendous amount of resource, but if they don't give themselves permission to play there, they don't. But when a leader steps up there and says, this is what we're about, this is where we're headed, they give a lot of people permission to do something extraordinary. But if somebody goes back and shrinks, if you take a $1 billion company and put a $100 million leader in it, it's going to go down in all probability. But you take a $1 billion leader or a $10 billion leader and put it into a $100 million company, it's going to go up. Because the size of their vision and because of the ability to see order where other people don't, the ability to transcend their own individual needs and go on to something greater. This is what inspired leaders do. Our brain is set up in a hierarchy.
Sure.
And then whenever we're doing something that's truly inspiring to us, that's truly meaningful to us, the highest areas of the brain come online. It's able to see strategies and see actions that solve problems, and they look forward to solving problems instead of creating problems. And they're not sitting in impulsive, immediate gratifying, compulsive behaviors. They're into long-term visions that are actually making a difference in the world. It was Seneca, the poet and Roman leader, who said, you don't look for your immediate needs for the community, you look for the longest vision over the longest period of time, and you start a track record to go after that vision. Mm-hmm. I think Nelson had a bigger vision, and that's why he's created a greater outcome.
How do you think an inspired leader should react to allegations of corruption?
Well, an inspired leader is going to have to stand up to that and have to hold on to a vision that's greater than the immediate gratification of corruption. And they have to not attach to their individual self. They have to attach to a more collective. And I think that you can tell that. I was being interviewed in Phoenix, Arizona, Scottsdale, Arizona, actually, of a gentleman who owned a pizza company. And he started at the pizza company when he was 11, riding bicycles, delivering pizzas at age 11. And he had a vision and a dream that he said, I someday want to own this company. And he was 11. He's now 42. And he said, I never gave up on my vision. I want to do that because I wanted to bring those pizzas, because they were the best pizzas he'd ever had in his life. He says, I want to bring people the greatest pizzas that he's ever tasted in his life to millions of people across America. He ended up getting into positions, and as he grew in power, that company grew and expanded. He's done a 21-fold increase in company, 21-fold, doubling 21
That's
times.
Incredible.
Because his dream was to get pizzas into the hands of people across America. And I know he won't stop there. He's going to bring pizzas even farther. But his vision, starting at age 11, now into 42, he's now 43, has taken that pizza company to heights that it never imagined. The owner never did that. The owner was just creating a pizza and had a smaller vision. This person had a vision, a global vision for that pizza company, and has led that pizza company because of that vision.
Coming back to our political situation right now in South Africa, we've just come out of local elections, and we are experiencing a shift in political dynamics where there are now coalition-led governments at a local government level, in Johannesburg as well. So there is the shift, which means jobs have been lost. The ruling party public officials have lost their jobs. And this is a big shift for them. And you mentioned to me earlier in the year as well that some of them who worked with you on the
Yes.
DiMartini process, they actually are struggling to come to terms with this change. So I want to know what exactly came through during your interaction with some of these ANC officials. What are they struggling with?
Well, the thing is anytime there's a change, people resist. Change management is dealing with that. When people can see that the new direction can help them fulfill what they're committed to, they'll adapt, and they'll move forward. But if they can't see how these changes are occurring, or if somebody comes along that they've had negation of and they've tried to be a challenge by, if they can't see how it's serving their needs, they're going to fight it and resist it. And if then they get laid off, they're going to be angry and resistant. The key is to ask, as the country is moving and changing, because it's going to be changing for as long as we're here, we're going to be changing. You want to ask how specifically can what this change is help me as an individual fulfill my mission of service to the community or the city or the state, and how are these changes going to be used in the next step? How are we going to grow from them? If not, you're going to resist it. You're going to have cacophony and challenge in the system. And that's leadership. If it's doing that, it's showing people how to not to live instead of how to live and lead. So you have to be able to ask how specifically is the necessary changes to move the country forward. How is it going to help me as an individual? And how is that cause that's necessary for the country, how's that going to help me as an individual? Because otherwise you're going to get in the way of the progress of the country.
From a human behavior perspective, do you think that it would help if you're a public official, to help to have a mindset that your job is always on the line, because it comes back to serving the people, it comes back to being accountable, that there has to be this acceptance that you could be voted in and out of office.
Well, the idea that you, maybe in an educational institution where you have tenure and you're highly educated and you're a specialist in that, that might have a value. But in the real world, general world, if you're not producing and you're not contributing and you're not moving us forward and you're not expanding the game and you're not adapting and you're not resilient, then it's time to step aside. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's just the bottom line. You know, I had a lovely lady that worked for me that was up in age, mature. And I sat with her and I asked her, and I said, so how much do you produce and how much do you cost me? And she immediately thought of her salary. And I said, well, how much do you actually cost me? And we made a list of every single item. We literally nitpicked every single item of what she cost the company. And it was about 3 to 4 times what she thought with her salary. And she looked at the space, she looked at the computer, the depreciation, everything, parking, everything, insurance, bonuses, everything. And then she said, do I still have a job? And I said, as long as you produce more than you cost, you have a job. As long as you're moving the country and the company forward and producing more than you cost, you have a contribution. Yeah. I believe that every leader has a responsibility to truly, measurably, tangibly, to be able to be seen, you be transparently create more than you cost to a country. As long as you do, you deserve that position. And you can't do it just because of what you did in the past. You can't sit on your morals. You have to consistently contribute and make a difference in the world and move us forward if you want to be a great leader. I think that having accountability is essential on that.
Mm-hmm. Part of the world is in mourning because Donald Trump was elected as President of the United States, and we're seeing the protests come out in the US, violent protests to some degree. You know Donald Trump, or you spent some time with him. What do you make of him as a person?
Well, that's too early to see.
Do you think he's an inspired leader?
I've seen him under very focused, very attentive, very rational, very non-game playing like he's done in the to get in. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind he played a game in order to get in. He played he played television to get in. I have a belief that he's going to be now more focused compared to the game. I'm sure he's still going to play some hardball with people, but I think he's going to be more focused. If not, he'll get impeached. The beauty about America that I think is a value is that it has a bicameral system. It has a two-party system. And if it goes to one extreme or the other one kicks in and gets it back into the center. Mm-hmm. And the people, I think, will immediately challenge him and go against him if he does something outrageous that's just absolutely not going to be to the country's benefit. Mm-hmm. So he's now going to grow. He's going to have to be matured. He's going to end up having to toe the line and be accountable. And so I think he's going to grow in the process. And I think we're going to get some new stimulus that we've probably been repressing because we've been in a kind of a stagnant pattern of just doing politics. Mm-hmm. So I think that novelty is going to be a stimulus. Whether he adapts is going to be the test. I think the next 6 months is going to be a real test for him. If he goes in there and he's able to make adaptation, he's going to do some amazing leadership. But if he can't do that and he plays like he played on television, then he may
good chance
end up
he
being,
might not survive his first term
he'll
in
get
office.
booted. But I think he's going to make it. I think he's going to pull through.
Thank you so much for your time. Amazing chatting to you.
Thank you.